If you work in California and you've sustained an injury at work, you qualify for workers' compensation benefits and you have a claim open, you might be wondering how long your workers' compensation claim is going to take. This is a very popular question that I'm asked as a lawyer. And that's why George and I have put together this short episode on how long workers' compensation claims take. Now, keep in mind that the information that we're discussing is general in nature only. We're going over hypotheticals. The information that we discuss and the hypotheticals we go over may not apply to the specific facts and circumstances of your case, and that's why you need to seek out attorney advice from a lawyer by giving them the specific facts and circumstances of your case and getting that feedback. So if you need attorney advice, you need to dial the injury helpline at 844-984-8414. But if you just want to learn a little bit about the factors and how long claims could potentially take, you should definitely listen to this episode that George and I have put together. This is episode number 28 of the Inland Empire Workers' Compensation Lawyer live stream. So with that said, let's get into the discussion today, George, of how long a workers' compensation claim potentially takes, what the factors are that could extend it or shorten it. George, how long might a workers' compensation claim take?
I'm glad you asked that, Alex. I get asked that pretty much every time I speak to a potential client, a new client, or even an existing client. They might ask it at the beginning of their claim, in the middle. They might get frustrated and ask it, later on in their claim. But the answer is there's just no way of telling. There's so many factors that are involved in a workers' compensation claim that could affect factors in the future that might even lengthen it, that we just don't know exactly. So I always tell my clients, Alex, if you have an attorney that's telling you, hey, your claim's going to be 6 months, or we should be able to get it done in a year, I wouldn't trust that. I would take that with a grain of salt, because there's just so many unknowns in a workers' compensation claim that you can't really put a number, whether it be months or years, on how long it might take. So with that in mind, let's get into what are the factors that might make a claim take longer, what you can do if your claim's taking a long time, what kind of options you might have. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I think that's a really important topic, and one that's really going to be interesting for our viewers, because I know for a fact that a lot of people have this question in their minds and they might not know where to get the answer from. So as we discussed, there's many issues that go into how long a workers' compensation claim is going to take. One of those is the delay period, okay? When you first file a workers' compensation claim, the insurance company takes that information in. I believe we discussed this before on one of our podcasts, but your claim's either denied or accepted at some point. However, not a lot of people know about the delay period. So an insurance company brings in the claim. They look over all the information, whether or not you've seen a doctor before for those claimed injuries, whether or not they have those doctor's reports. But they have 90 days, technically, up to 90 days to deny or accept your claim. So during the time that it's not denied or accepted, we're in what's called the delay period. So that right off the bat, your claim could take 3 months just for you to find out whether your claim is denied or accepted. So that's a pretty long time, right? That's a quarter of a year. Not to mention the time that's going to take for you to meet with the attorney, discuss your facts even before the claim gets started, file the paperwork, send the paperwork out to the employer, the court, yourself, whoever else needs to get those paperwork. So there's things that needs to be done before a claim's even filed that might extend that period. But right now we're talking about the delay period in between whether or not you find out if your claim's accepted or denied.
Okay, so you hear that, folks, right at the very beginning of your case. When you file the claim, the insurance company has up to 90 days to accept or deny. So if you've just filed your claim and you're wondering what's going on, you could be waiting around for up to a quarter of a year just to find out if the insurance company is going to accept liability for the injury that you're claiming that you sustained. So if you haven't gotten that feedback from the adjuster, if you haven't received a letter that says, hey, this claim is accepted, you could be waiting up to 90 days. But that's just to start your claim. So let's say that the claim has been accepted. You're looking at an acceptance letter and you're an injured worker. What happens next? How long could it take after that to finish the claim?
Well, next, Alex, I would look at what type of injury is it? Did you sprain your back?
Right.
Did you sprain your ankle? Did you severely hurt your back? Or were you in an auto accident while on the job? So you have to look at the injuries that were sustained, because if you hurt something and you pretty much recover from it within months, then that's going to be a very short claim, right? But what if you have lasting injuries? What if new treatment needs to be sought out? What if we need to figure out other forms of treatment that might be able to help you? So you have to look at what type of injuries you sustained in order to see whether it might be a longer claim or a shorter claim. Other factors include age, right? Because some people might recover faster if they're younger. When you're younger, you recover a lot faster. You respond to treatment better, right? So what type of injuries did you have?
Right, because the insurance company is required, on an accepted claim at least, to provide you with medical treatment. And depending on your age, depending on the type of injury that you have, depending on what types of medical treatment that the insurance company can offer you for that type of injury, those treatments take time. And they also take time to become approved and for you to go to the doctor and for you to get those treatments and then to see how you respond. And all of that takes time. So since the insurance company provides you with medical treatment, and your claim can't be over until you go through a course of treatment, some of how long your claim is going to take depends upon what kind of injury that you have, your age, how you respond to treatment.
Right. And it's important to note that this delay period is very important because even though your claim might be denied after the 90 days are up, the insurance company has to provide you with medical treatment within those 90 days. So even if your claim ends up being denied, they are supposed to provide you with up to $10,000 of medical treatment during that delay period. Okay, so you file your application, there's a delay period. The insurance company needs to provide you with treatment up to $10,000 during that 90-day delay period. After that, if the claim is denied, they no longer have to provide you with medical treatment until it becomes litigated and maybe you can prove that you were injured and now it's accepted after all that, right?
Yeah, so if you've received an acceptance and you're getting medical care, or you've received a denial, or you've received a delay letter, you might be receiving medical care and you might be starting out that process, and then at some point they deny it.
Right.
They could say, hey, the claim's on delay. If you're wondering what's going on with your case and you haven't heard anything from the adjuster, it's time to call the injury helpline, 844-984-8414. But maybe you're looking at a delay letter and you're just not quite sure what's going to happen next. That's also a situation where you probably want to talk to a lawyer because your claim could become denied. So if you're looking at a delay, you could be looking up to 90 days. And then it could become denied at the end of that 90 days. And then you're looking at a denied claim where the employer is providing you with no treatment whatsoever. Now you have to go to a lawyer and hire a lawyer. And just like George, you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, that can also lead to a delay.
Right.
Because you got to talk and discuss with the attorney. The attorney has to file an application. The application goes through a certain, the court system. It goes to the adjuster. The adjuster hires a lawyer of their own. That can lead to months of delay,
right,
just in that process. So if you're at the very beginning of your case, you're wondering how long your workers' compensation claim is going to take, it's probably best that you speak to a lawyer right away and get some of these bases covered so you can kind of figure out more specifically where you land, where you fall, and get that feedback that you need to put in your mind to kind of put your mind at ease about what kind of timeframes you're looking at. The sooner and more anxious you are to close the claims can sometimes mean that you might have to settle for less money.
Right.
I mean, if you're willing to stick it through and go through the entire case workup, see all the doctors that you can possibly see all the secondary treating physicians for other issues that you have, and go through the whole process, that may ultimately lead to a better settlement. It may not, but how long your claim takes also depends on what your expectations are. Because, you could probably settle your claim at any time for $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
You might be able to settle it at any time for $5,000.
Right.
But could you settle it for $100,000? So you have to keep your expectations in line and your timelines in line as well.
Right.
So that's something you need to discuss with your attorney. If you don't have one, if you have a claim, you're hurt, you're wondering how long it's going to take, and you don't have a lawyer, it's time to speak with a lawyer. So call the injury helpline at 844-984-8414, or visit our website, www.workerscompensationlawyerie.com.